Okay, welcome. This is Yoga for Cancer, and I'm Rebecca. And for today's class, we will need blocks or something that will serve you as blocks. So that could be small pillows, folded blankets or towels. Somebody has suggested big paper towel rolls, big fat ones. And or something that you could come forward to, like a chair. I have my yoga chair here, and I'm going to probably pull that out. We won't be sitting on it necessarily, although that's always an option. So it's February 2nd. How on earth can it be February already? I hope everyone is well, and I don't know where we all are, but if you're in the snow belt, I hope you have power and you're warm and safe. And we've had in Atlanta, it's a beautiful day here, but cold, and we've had a ton of wind. So I know a lot of people are losing internet. So I hope everyone is doing well with that. So I mentioned moments ago the idea of making this practice your own. And I wanted to talk just a little bit today about creating a home practice. So those of us who come to class every week have that is a practice, coming to class, joining the class. Um, and I won't say but, and I really advocate for having your own yoga, yoga and meditation practice that you do at home, maybe every day, maybe several days a week. And what that could look like is something as simple as remembering to do a few stretches before you get into bed at night, or doing a few stretches or some breathing in bed in the morning before you get out of bed. Or maybe you keep your yoga mat next to the bed and you wake up and go down onto the mat, or lie down on your pardon me, on your back, and do some movement just to get warmed up for the day. I've been struggling in during this pandemic, as many or all of us have, with creating a routine that supports me, that keeps me healthy and fit and ready to go. And one day I said to myself, you create yoga practices for other people all the time. Why not create one for yourself? And so I created a morning practice for myself that includes 10 minutes of yoga, which is just that warming up, that getting the body moving, 10 minutes of seated meditation, and 5 minutes of journaling. I like to just note down anything that comes up during my meditation. And what is most important is not what you do, but the consistency with which you do it. So taking 5 minutes a day, maybe at the same time of day, maybe in the same place, so that it starts to become a habit. It is said that 40 days makes a habit. So if you're interested in trying to establish something, take out a piece of paper and write out 1 through 40 and check the days off and see where you are at the end of that time period. So my sermon is now over, but if anybody has any questions or thoughts about creating a home practice, I'm more than happy to help you with that process. So send me a note or stay after and we can talk about it. Well, let's move on with our sun breaths. And inhaling, we'll float our arms up, palms up. And as your arms come up, take a moment to look up towards your fingertips. As you exhale, turn palms down and slowly bring your chin towards your chest. Inhale, and it doesn't matter where your arms come to, but allow your head to float up along with your arms gently. Exhale and float down with the arms, chin to chest. Inhale, and when your head goes up, don't let it drop back. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a lift and a reach through the crown of the head. and a gentle stretch at the back of the neck as you exhale. So stay with it for a few more breaths, inhaling up and exhaling down. Take your time. And the next time that arms are floating up, lower your right arm and come up and over with the left. Starting with some side bends, opening up the side of the body, breathing into the side body. Inhale up through center and exhale over. Kim, you're more than happy and welcome to stay standing, but we usually start seated, and that's either on a mat or in a chair, and we will definitely move up to standing. And again, if you're happy there, please feel free to stay. And same with anyone else. Please find your place and your pace, your place and your pace. So a few more times, coming over to the side, we stay for a breath so that we open up in the side body. Now, if taking your arm overhead isn't right for you today, you can bring your hand to your shoulder or even to your hip. And just a few more. And the next time that you're coming over to the left, pause here and let's begin to circle the arm or the elbow. Take this circle as broadly or as specifically as works best in your body today. If a big sweeping arm circle is great, then do that. Otherwise, do what feels good. And find a place to reverse direction, opening up as the arm or elbow comes around. And using the next circle, come up through center and over to the other side. We'll go right into the circles here. I'm working with a little shoulder injury, so I'm going to take small and measured circles. Please work with what you're showing up with today. Reverse direction if you haven't already, opening up. And using the next inhale to come up through center. Let's extend arms out to the side. Turn your palms up. Bend your elbows and bring fingertips to your shoulders and begin to circle. And again, please do what works with your body today. Making the circles as big, as small, as fast, or as slow as your body is calling for. Find a place to reverse direction. And as you're circling back, really feel the movement of your shoulder blades on your back, floating over your rib cage. Shoulders coming towards each other, shoulder blades coming towards each other as you circle back. I'm going to go forward again, but this time one at a time, making these sort of infinity arms. And reverse, same thing, one side at a time. And release arms down and just a couple of circles back to reset the shoulder blades. Beautiful. I'm going to move back a little bit and we'll come onto our seat with fingertips or hands behind you. Go ahead and walk your feet out to the width of your mat and begin to drop your knees from side to side. See, with my feet out wide, this knee comes right inside my foot. I don't know if you can see that. Come back a little further. There we go. So now you can see my knee is able to drop in And maybe you have that range of motion and maybe you don't. Try releasing and allowing your arm to come around. I can get my knee down a little more easily if I do that. And it also gives us a nice twist in the body. Couple more like this. And the next time that you're coming through center, extend your legs out in front of you, little tiny bounces, and maybe some windshield wiper action, moving legs side to side, in and out. Now we're going to come to table position, hands and knees. If hands and knees are not working for you today, feel free to stay seated and do similar movements to what we're doing on hands and knees. If you are taking table, make sure you have something underneath your knees. I use this little extra bit of mat. And I bring knees underneath my hips, hands maybe with fingers spread wide, index fingers parallel. If that doesn't feel okay on your wrists, you can always do fists with your thumbs forward, or even come onto forearms on the floor, or even on a block or cushion. Wherever you find your table, take a moment and get long, stretching from tailbone to crown of head. As you exhale, draw your belly in. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, draw your belly in. So this drawing in of the belly, you see you're not seeing any movement, right? Maybe you can see my shirt lifting a little. But this is about creating structure, creating support for the low back as we move into the next bit. So from here, we'll move into cat and cow, which you can do seated again. Inhale, lift your tail, soften your belly and lift the crown of the head. Exhale, tuck the tail, draw the belly in and up, press the floor away gently and release your head. Start the movement with the pelvis, lifting the tail, and it flows through the spine. The head is an extension of the spine. As you exhale, draw the belly in, open between the shoulder blades. As you inhale, open along the whole front body. Take your time moving through cat and cow. We use these warm-up poses at the beginning of class to kind of tune in to where we are, to what's happening in the body today. And so take note, notice what you feel. Any places that feel a little stuck, or places that feel really nice and open and fluid. And the next time that you come through your neutral spine in tabletop or seated, pause here, and we'll extend the left leg behind or in front if you're seated, pressing out through the heel. Now notice I'm not lifting my hip, I'm keeping my hips level. I'm drawing in with my belly to support that extended leg. Stay here or add the reach of the opposite arm. Getting nice and long, keep reaching. Inhale here, hold, or exhale and draw knee and elbow towards each other. Inhale, reach away. Continue. Exhale in. Inhale, reach. Maybe two more if you can. And exhale in. And inhale, reach. Hand and knee down. Take a moment and wiggle from side to side. And again, if it's not great for you to be on your hands, then adjust and find a better solution, or sit up in your chair. We'll extend the right leg, pressing out through the heel. Draw that belly in and up. Don't let your belly drop as your leg lifts, right? Lift the belly too. Stay here or add the opposite arm, getting nice and long. Inhale here. Maybe you're exhaling and drawing knee and elbow towards each other. You can do this seated as well. Last one, reach and hands down. Walk your knees out a little wider, toes together, and press your hips towards your heels. Your head comes down to maybe to stacked hands or fists, or even to the edge of a block, coming into child's pose. Allow the breath to be steady, feeling that expansion in the back body as the breath moves from the somewhat constricted belly into the back ribs, opening up low back, middle back, between the shoulder blades. As you exhale, release and sink just a little bit more. Beautiful. When you're ready, walk your hands back, and if possible, if it's comfortable, come on up to kneeling. Now we're going to work with some kneeling warrior poses. If kneeling is not going to work for you, you can do this seated in a chair as well. So from here, let's lift the right leg and turn it out. So we're turning out from the hip, knee and toes pointing in the same direction. If you're seated, bring one leg out to the side, pointing in that other direction. Okay? Inhale and raise your arms just to shoulder height. Turn and look out over right fingertips. Press down into the right foot and imagine you could draw your foot towards your knee towards your foot. Lots of strength here. Make sure that breath is flowing. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your right arm, bringing your forearm to your thigh, and maybe reach up and over with the left arm. Coming into a knee down extended side angle. Inhale up from here, and then stay with me. I'm going to bring my left hand down to the mat and extend my right leg out. My heel and toes will stay down to begin with. My left leg, my foot is behind me, so it's sort of like a kickstand. Stay here or take a long reach overhead, coming into this version of side plank, Vashisthasana. Stay here or let your top leg float up, pressing through the heel, reaching through the fingertips. To come out, if your leg is raised, bring it down, and then walk your hands around to the front, knee down, and we'll switch sides. Stepping the left foot out, turning out at the hip, knee and toes pointing in the same direction. If it's a lot to have your hip coming right out, feel free to bring it a little further forward. That is always an option. Inhale the arms to shoulder height, turning to look out over the left fingertips. Press down through the left heel and isometrically draw it, my words are here, towards your knee, your right knee. Getting that engagement in the inner legs, in the pelvic floor. One more reach and then exhale and find your extended side angle. And just like our side bends, You can do this with an elbow or a hand on your hip as well, or the extended long arm. Take a few breaths here. Inhale up through center. Come down to the right hand and extend the left leg. Maybe the left arm comes up, opening into a modified side plank. Stay here or reach long overhead, turning that pinky side of your arm and hand a little bit more towards reaching down. Does that make sense? So instead of the arm being here with the hand forward, turn it. Stay here or float the leg up, getting long and strong. One more breath. Release the foot down. Come around to the front and 2 knees down. Last pose on our knees. So walk your hands up. And for anyone who's in a chair, you can either do this seated if you sit toward the edge of the chair, or you can do it standing. Just be super, super careful. We're going to do a camel pose. So bring your hands and walk them around to the back of your hips. I'll turn around. So you can see I've got, this is sort of like they say, back pocket, right? So my fingers are pointing down and my hands are at the top of my hips, at the glutes. I'm drawing my elbows back, bringing my shoulder blades towards each other. Now I'm going to press my hips forward and lift to open my heart, pressing down with my hands, which helps to support my back. Do not drop your head back. You can reach through the crown of the head and let your chin float away from the chest, but do not let the head drop back. Inhale, use your abdominal muscles to bring you back up to standing or standing on your knees. So that's version 1. Version 2, we're going to release one hand, in this case my right, and I'm going to reach for my heel. Now, if the heel is far away, you can try curling your toes under, which might lift your heel up a little higher. If this feels way too far away, stay with version 1. If you can comfortably reach your heel, take a hold of it, and then maybe you can release the other arm. Hips are pressing forward, opening front body. To come out, bring your arm down first, and then walk your hand back up. I'll turn sideways for the second side so you can see exactly what I'm doing, okay? My toes are curled under, I'm reaching for my heel. Aha, there it is. And hips are pressing forward, I'm reaching with my opposite hand. If that's not working for you, keep 2 hands on your low back and just find the chest opener, heart opener. To come back up, walk your hand to your hip, draw the belly in, and come all the way up. Okay, camel, well done. Let's make our way all the way up to standing. So follow along or take your own path and find your mountain pose. I'm going to grab a sip of water. You might want one too. And prepare for some balancing poses. So I think with this series, you'll probably be okay, but you might want access to a wall where you could rest your fingertips, or to a nice sturdy piece of furniture, like my trusty yoga chair. I might turn it. And I know with this chair that it's nice and sturdy, so if I lean on it, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to tip. Make sure you know that about your chair before you proceed. And then release supports and find your mountain pose, rocking forward and back on your feet, lifting heels and toes, and then coming to stillness, reaching up through the crown of the head, reaching down through your fingertips. Imagine you have, as we sometimes do, a block between your legs. And imagine that you could squeeze in towards center. What do you feel engage? Your inner thighs, perhaps? Maybe your pelvic floor is lifting. Maybe you have some engagement in your glutes, low belly drawing in. Getting really, really strong in the lower middle body. Reaching up through the crown, reaching down through your fingertips. Tadasana, mountain pose. Big breath and let it go and shake out. Beautiful. Now, let's step right back into our mountain pose, finding that engagement. Take a moment to look ahead of you at your horizon line and find a point somewhere in the center there that isn't moving, a place that you can rest your eyes, your drishti or focal point. Eyes on your focal point. Relax your hands at your sides, palms back. And we're going to move into palm tree. So on an inhale, gently lift your heels just an inch or more and bring fingertips up, palm fronds. Exhale, release heels and arms down. This is our version 1. Inhale, float up, and exhale, float down. Notice, maybe you need a little support and maybe you don't for this version. Moving on to version 2, we lift a little bit higher with heels and arms. Exhale and release down. So come up a little, come up a lot. Exhale down. Keep moving, lifting up on the inhale and releasing down on the exhale. This time, whichever version you choose, lifting up, hold for a breath. Eyes on your focal point. Little movements in your feet and ankles to stabilize. Exhale down. Inhale up and hold. And hold. Exhale down. Inhale up and hold. And hold. Exhale down. Last time, inhale up, the highest you've come thus far. Keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching. One more reach and release and shake out. Now, if you have a chair or a wall at your disposal, bring your hands to that surface and step back with one leg, pressing the heel towards the mat to stretch out your calves. Doing one side at a time allows you to be sure that both legs get a full stretch. Try gripping your toes into the floor beneath you and then letting them go. Do it one more time, grip and release. Now, keep your foot where it is and lift your heel just a little bit. Keep pressing back. Keep pressing back. Good. And then step up and switch sides. If you're on a wall, it might look a little more like this. Getting that nice stretch in your calves. Maybe gripping your toes and then letting go, pressing deeper. Gripping your toes, pressing deeper. And then bending your knee, keeping your heel back it changes the location of the stretch just a little bit. Keep sinking your heel and step up and shake out. Beautiful. We have one more standing, well, two more standing sequences. Well, so let's take a nice wide stance on your mat. And sometimes people think staying narrower is easier, but sometimes it's not easier. Sometimes it's easier actually if you step out a little wider. So play around. You can always change it if it doesn't feel right. Pardon me. We're going to turn out the right leg. On. Okay. So we're turning out right from the hip so that the knee and toes are pointing in the same direction, away. Now your heel is either in line with your other arch, or you can walk your foot back a little and have it in line with your other heel. And that gives you maybe a little more stability. So find this position. One leg's pointing this way, one is pointing that way. And then hands on your hips, slowly bend your front knee. It should track over your middle toes and come just to over your ankle. Okay, so now you know where we're headed. Straighten your leg. Inhale and raise one or both arms to shoulder height. Exhale and sink into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. Turn and look out over your front fingertips. Press down through your feet and imagine you could draw them towards each other, getting a lot of engagement in the inner thighs and the pelvic floor. Now you may stay here to build strength, or exhale, bending your elbow, bring your forearm to your thigh, and your arm can come up and over, could be your elbow, or your hand could come to your hip, coming into extended side angle. Take a breath here. And then press into your thigh to inhale, back up to Warrior Two. Try to keep that knee bent. Turn your front palm up. Exhale your back arm down to your thigh or hip. Front arm floats up. The front knee is still bent. Peaceful warrior. Inhale, back to Warrior Two. Release arms down, straighten your leg, and turn your toes to face forward. Take a moment here, maybe you roll your hips a little bit. Make sure that breath is flowing, and we'll move to the other side. Turning out left leg, so toes and knee pointing in the same direction. You can press your right heel away. I think I forgot to cue that last time. Hands on your hips, inhale in place, exhale, bend your knee. Make sure that you have that alignment, knee over your ankles, tracking over middle toes. And then inhale your arms out at shoulder height. Turn and look out over your front fingertips. Press down through your feet and imagine you're drawing them towards each other, getting that engagement in the lower body. Stay here holding, or inhale here and then exhale into extended side angle, whichever version is serving you today. So I'm resting my forearm on my thigh. My hand is on my hip, my shoulder, or maybe extended. Press down into your leg, but keep the knee bent to inhale back up to Warrior Two. Turn your front palm up and then slowly lower the backhand to your thigh or your hip. The front arm floats up, the knee stays bent. Maybe you're looking up at your fingertips or back towards your back leg, peaceful warrior. Inhale, back to Warrior Two. Release the arms, straighten the leg, and turn all toes to face forward. Beautiful job. Little circles here. Now we're going to come into a wide forward fold. And I'd like you to come to either the seat of a chair, and I'll show you that version first. If you do not have a chair, but you have blocks, hang on 1 second, and I will show you that version second. This over, don't I? Okay, so from your wide-legged stance with your toes pointing forward, going to get nice and tall, your hands on your hips perhaps. We're going to hinge right from the hips, so we're not bending at the waist at all. We're going to keep a long spine and start to come forward. Maybe your knees bent, probably. Long spine, long spine. Hands come to your chair seat. Maybe your forearms come to your chair seat. Notice how my spine is staying nice and long. I keep turning my head to look at the camera, but you're going to look down, reaching through the crown of your head. Take a couple of breaths here, and then to come out, walk your hands up, keep the knees bent, keep the spine long, and come all the way up. Beautiful. That's one. If you prefer to work with blocks, or if that's what you have, it will look like this. Now, if you have your chair and you're happy, just repeat what we did again. I have my blocks and my wide stance. Inhale and get tall. Exhale, begin to hinge at your hips, pressing your tailbone behind you. Crown of the head comes forward. Knees bend so you can maintain that long spine. Bring your hands to your blocks. Keep getting longer, reaching through the crown of your head. Couple of breaths wherever you are. And then to come out, walk your hands to your hips and inhale all the way up. Carefully walk your feet back to center. Woo! Beautiful, beautiful work with these standing poses. Let's make our way back down to a seated pose. Take your time, use your props. If you have a chair handy, you can use that to get down. You can use your blocks or make your way down in a way that works best for you. So coming to a seat, bring soles of feet together, knees apart. Back even more so you can see. This is bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Holding on to your ankles, shins, or knees, begin to rock a little bit from side to side. Can you feel your sits bones, those bones at the bottom of your pelvis, making contact? So what I'm not doing is this. And what I am doing is rocking from cheek to cheek. Yep, all the way up and over as you can, as comfortable in your body. And then make your way back to center. If you feel like you're rolling to your tailbone, that is your indication that you need to sit up a little higher. So maybe you take a cushion, bolster, or a folded blanket and sit up on the edge. That makes it a little easier, a little more comfortable. From here, we're going to move into a seated cat-cow. So hands on your knees or shins and tuck your tail under. Draw your belly in. Let your head come forward. Inhale and roll your pelvis forward. Open your front body. Lift your heart. Lift the crown of your head. Exhale, tuck, belly in. Hold on to your legs for support. Inhale, roll forward, pull back on your knees or shins, open the front body. Couple more like this. Exhale and inhale. Opening the back body, opening the front body. This or the next time that you come through center, pause here and then begin some circling. This time, both sits bones are staying down. I might feel rocking a little from side to side, but I'm staying grounded and circling my torso. Now, you might want to make it a lot slower, so please do that. Or you might like it to be a little faster and more energetic. Please do that. And then find a place to reverse direction. Try out different speeds, different ranges of motion. Maybe you just want a little tiny circle or a really big circle. What is working for you today? And then move to stillness. Using your hands underneath your knees, help your legs to come out wide. So knees and toes pointing up towards the ceiling, right? Don't let your legs flop open. Some people's legs flop in. Keep them up nice and tall. Feel free to bring your hands behind you for extra support. Or if you didn't sit up on something for the last pose, maybe you will now, sitting on the edge of a blanket or a bolster. So stay here if the stretch is already very present, or walk your fingertips in front. Now we're going to keep that long spine, so we're hinging right at the hips again. And we're going to just start to walk forward. If you start to feel this in your knees, see if you can keep a little bend. If that is not working for you, you can always place a little cushion or a rolled up blanket or towel under your knees, or just stay nice and tall. If you're coming forward, make sure it feels okay in your body. Try flexing your feet. That can help protect the knees. Again, we have a long spine, right? We're not rounding. We're reaching through the crown of the head. Gentle, gentle tip forward. If it's not gentle, back up or come forward. What is working for you? We'll take 3 more breaths. And then to come out, press into your fingertips to come all the way up. Use your hands to draw your legs back in towards center. Extend long, and then flop in and out, maybe little teeny tiny bounces. We're going to make our way on to our back. Make sure that you have a block, a folded blanket, or a small cushion handy. So coming all the way down onto your back. If it feels good, draw your knees in towards your chest and maybe rock from side to side. And then bring one foot down and then the other, knees bent, feet and knees about hip distance apart, pardon me, and feet close to your body. We're going to work into a supported bridge pose. So arms down at your sides, hands down, palms down. Inhale in place. Exhale and press the small of your back into the mat. Inhale, release the press and let the natural curve come back. Exhale and press. This is just a gentle pelvic tilt. Inhale, release the press. Last time, exhale and press. From here, press into your feet and lift your hips an inch or more off the mat. Exhale and lower hips down. Inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips maybe a little bit higher. You can press down into your hands for support. Exhale and release. I forgot to mention this, but don't have anything underneath your head for this. And make sure you keep your head facing forward. Don't turn your neck while you're in the bridge. Inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, and this time stay for a breath. Inhale, press into your feet, lift a little higher. Exhale and lower down. So you may continue with this lifting and lowering, or if you'd like to come into a supported bridge, grab your block or small cushion or folded blanket. Inhale, pressing into your feet, lifting your hips up. Lift them up high enough to slide your support underneath your sacrum. So it's not going under your low back, it's going under your bones, right underneath your hip bones. Your pelvis is a better way of saying it. If it feels uncomfortable, please come out right away. Press into your feet, lift, and draw the item of support out. And just stay with a gentle lift and lower. If this feels okay, having your hips elevated, something underneath your pelvis, under your sacrum, then stay here. You might try sliding one leg out long, pressing out through your heel, and then drawing the leg back in, sliding the other leg long, drawing the leg back in. You could try extending both legs, but make sure it feels okay in your low back. Find a place where you can comfortably rest for about 5 breaths. Stay with it. And after your 5th breath, if you're in supported bridge, press into your feet, lift your hips high enough so that you can remove whatever is beneath you. Slowly lower your hips down. And then take a moment to find a supported position for Shavasana or resting pose. And that can be lying on your back with pillows under your knees and a pillow under your head. If you have your chair handy, you could bring your lower legs up onto the chair seat if that feels good. You can always lie on your side with support from cushions, or you can come back to a seated position if you prefer to end with a seated meditation. Take your time finding your position for rest. And once you get there, notice your points of connection with the ground. Maybe it's your heels or your feet, your hips, shoulders, arms and hands, the back of your head. Maybe it's some different collection of body parts. Feel the support, the steadiness of the earth beneath you. With each exhale, sink a little more into this cradle of support. With each inhale, open and expand the inner body. Exhaling, releasing, and letting go a little bit more. Earth beneath you. Draw the sky above you, around you like a blanket. Relax, release, and just let go. Consider the other kingdoms, the trees, for example, with their mellow sounding titles: oak, aspen, willow, or the snow, for which the peoples of the north have dozens of words to describe its different arrivals, or the creatures with their thick fur, their shy and wordless gaze, their infallible sense of what their lives are meant to be. Thus the world grows rich, grows wild, and you too grow rich, grow sweetly wild, as you too were born to be. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. If you're still lying down, go ahead and roll to one side and pause. And then press into your hands to gently bring yourself back up to sitting, allowing your attention to stay deeply inward for just another moment or two. We'll seal today's practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. If you'd like to join, bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale together. Om Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing, pardon me, for sharing your practice with me and with each